that the news keeps the mantra. So now we seen here who's exempt from this directive. Individuals experiencing homelessness. Wait, homeless people don't gotta wear a mask. Such individuals are encouraged to take protective measures to the greatest extent practicable. Individuals who cannot wear a face covering due to medical condition or disability, or who are unable to remove the mask without assistance. Persons exempted under this provision shall wear a non-restrictive alternative. Should wear. You don't have to. You should. You know what I mean? You should, but they're saying that you should based on what their experts are lying to you about. Yeah, based on their lies, you should, right? You should based on their lies, not you have to, okay? And that's only based on their lies. Such as a face shield. Persons exempted under this provision shall not be required to provide documentation verifying the condition. Why? Because all you got to do is tell them you got a condition. Now leave you the fuck alone. Because the truth is that they're not even allowed to do this. They had to put this fire escape in here. For those who know. Come on. They're violating the rights of the people. Wake up. Individuals for whom wearing a face covering would create a risk to the person related to their work as determined by local, state, or federal regulators or workplace safety guidelines. Individuals who are obtaining a service involving the nose or face for which the temporary removal of face coverings is necessary to perform the services. Individuals who are seated at a restaurant or other establishment that offers food or beverages services while they are eating or drinking, provided that they are able to maintain a distance of at least 6 feet away from the persons who are not members of the same household or residence. Individuals who are engaged in outdoor work or recreation such as swimming, walking, hiking, bicycling, or running when alone or with household members and when they are able to maintain distance or at least 6 feet from others. So let me get this straight. Individuals who are out working outside, individuals who are swimming, walking, if you're hiking, if you're biking, if you're running, basically any physical activity with your body, you should not be wearing a mask. They're saying when you're outdoors, though. They're not saying indoors. They're saying when you're outdoors, if you're walking outdoors, if you're moving your body, basically, you ain't supposed to have a mask on outside. Okay? Individuals who are incarcerated, prisons and jails, as part of their mitigation plan, will have specific guidance on the wearing of face coverings or masks for both inmates and staff. So basically the jail makes their own thing. But here's the crazy part. That you could get them in trouble when they're doing the BS. Nevada OSHA shall enforce all violations of its guidelines. Remember, Nevada OSHA, NV OSHA shall enforce all violations of its guidelines, of OSHA's guidelines, not this directive. OSHA enforces its guidelines. This is where they try to fool you because they're like, oh, you got to report this to OSHA. No, you don't. OSHA is enforcing the violations of its guidelines, protocols, and regulations promulgated pursuant to this directive. But what? The state licensing boards, they the ones. The state licensing boards are hereby directed to enforce all provisions of this directive. Say that again. The state licensing boards, him who gives them the permission to do that which they're doing, are hereby directed to enforce. They're directed to enforce all provisions. That includes Section 7. The exemptions. They're supposed to enforce that. All provisions of this directive against licensees and establishments within their purview and impose disciplinary measures against licensees who violate this directive. So when you go up in there and say, I can't wear a mask, I have a medical exemption, and they say, well, we don't care. Isn't that a violation of Section 7 of the Emergency Directive, which states that the mandatory provisions shall not apply to, and then there's a long list of 1 through 8, and then you tell them that that under 1 through 8, you know what I mean, that you meet the standards of 1 through 8, leave me alone, and then they keep going. They just did a violation. The state licensing board is supposed to do. Then you hit the state licensing boards, and then they're playing games, and then you call Nevada OSHA, and then they're like, they can't do nothing. You see what I'm saying? Everything in here is enforceable except Section 7. It's like they wrote it in invisible ink because they don't tell you about it. And then it's like they're not enforcing it. We're going to cut it at that. Islam, peace and love to all the Moors. That's the whole world. All the Asiatics, all the Muslims, all the human beings. Let's go. We rising up. Let's rise to the Moors, baby.